a big fan.
Hello, hello. It's Magic Monday. Um, and we are here talking about Wayne Dyer's amazing magical book called Real Magic: Creating Miracles in Everyday Life. And we are on a list of spiritual versus non-spiritual traits. We're on number 6, which is that um well, if you're going to be spiritual, ethics, serenity, and quality of life beat achievement and acquisition. Ethics, serenity, and quality of life beat achievement and acquisitions. Any thoughts?
Yeah.
Well, I've got it beat then.
All
I have no,
right. Don't get any acquisitions because
there's no danger of that.
well, okay, what's it like? I actually do live trying with for serenity, especially since I'm sober, because like you always try to be have serenity when you're sober. So I learned that, and that's a very spiritual program, being sober. What's it like? What about the ethics piece? Do you guys live by ethics, or what's the deal here?
I'm an interpreter, of course.
Where you have a code of ethics because you're a sign language interpreter.
Yeah, I do. And he just interpreted what it said. Great.
I interpreted what you said ethically too.
I have ethics, and frankly, since we're on it, the code of ethics that I had to learn to become a good interpreter um, was so powerful that I've carried it with me. It's not something you can turn off, and so it informs almost everything I do. So I feel like my ethics are always with me, and it's a guide for making tough decisions sometimes.
Do you think that anybody thinks they're unethical?
Well,
Or
I
do
I'm always
they
out of
just,
ethics because I'm in show business and I'm always getting messed with, and it's like I've transcended ethics in some ways where I'm like, oh really? I want to mess with you back, like. It's not that I don't feel like I'm being ethical, but sometimes I'm just like, whatever, with all this righteous living. Like when someone's poking me, I'm gonna poke them back. So I don't know.
well, I think maybe it's more nuanced. Maybe it's like everybody defines their own ethics. And then everybody thinks like they're living by their own ethics, which trump like the ethics of maybe the society that they're in, is what you're saying, is like other people's ethics might say that I shouldn't poke you back, but I'm going to because mine say I should.
Yeah, I mean, I think
So,
sometimes people are being think they're being ethical, and another person could look at it and say it was unethical, and that's why you have something called a defensible position. I mean, like ethics is never cut and dry.
no, no, no. When I was studying to become an interpreter way back in 1947, um, we talked about ethical situations for hours, and everybody's opinion was different. So it isn't cut and dry.
Mhm.
But I like pondering almost as much as practicing.
Well, here's an example. So in astrology, the blanket ethic that's always taught is you should never look at someone's chart without their permission. Like, and I feel like I'm supposed to teach that ethic, but I teach
Huh.
very high level astrologers, and it's like I go beyond that to act utilitarianism, where like you're never supposed to shoot someone either, but if someone's about to shoot 10 children, it's actually more ethical to shoot the person than let the 10 children die. Like that's act utilitarianism. So like let's say somebody's going to I'm dealing with a murderer who might kill me. I might look at their chart to see when their transits would be violent, like without their permission. You know what I mean? Like, so it's like I'm actually like beyond the basic ethics, and I'm like going into like really high level ethics. And so it looks like when some people hear me say, like, yeah, look at that chart without permission, they think I'm just the worst person ever. But like, I'm actually dealing with really high level astrologers who are dealing with really high level situations. You know what I'm saying? And so it's like,
Yeah,
yeah, ethics is always a conversation. It's not like math. It's not like 1 + 1 = 2.
no, might be why I like it.
Well,
Do
what
you
about
think maybe he's saying that the spiritual being considers ex ethics, more often or with more weight than someone who is, in his opinion, non-spiritual?
it makes me think of the person who's just like in your face, like, like, hell no. And they're on the phone and they're just like, like there's some people who just really don't consider ethics and what they're doing. They're just like, just always like trigger response
Right.
and, and then they drink about it. Like, I mean, there is a more kind of wise person's spiritual path where you consider everything you're doing. And, even if you do something that seems unethical, you did it with consideration or, kind of thing. And, um,
Mhm.
yeah. Well, what about serenity? I mean, do you think all spiritual people are serene?
I think there's a difference between inner serenity and outward serenity, right? Like,
Yeah.
so I think that, in a situation in which, if someone was gonna destroy a monk's temple, he might like defend it vigorously, right? Like, think of the Shaolin monks who created karate or whatever that legend is. I don't actually know. I don't have real good details on that, but like there are like warrior monks, right? So those don't seem very serene acting on the outside, but perhaps they have an inner serenity and a knowledge of exactly why they're doing everything.
I think a lot of professional wrestlers have serenity.
Hmm.
Like a lot of them are very spiritual and they like go in the ring and like make each other all bloody, but like they're doing it ethically and, consensually and like all these things. And I think warriorism is not inherently antithetical to serenity. Like you don't have to
No,
be
I can see that.
serene to have serenity. Sorry.
Right.
Yeah,
And you can,
go ahead.
I was just going to say, you can look serene and your insides could be like 15 squirrels in a blender.
Oh, interesting. Yeah.
You've seen
And
those people where they look really chill on the outside, but there's something about them that tells you that you shouldn't get too close.
Yeah.
or people who you say like, "Wow, I can't believe you were so chilled through all that." And they're like, "Well, I wasn't on the inside, you
Yeah.
know?"
Yeah.
Like, and oftentimes, like, as a parent, you have to act like that, you know? When you're raising children or around children, you gotta try to maintain some outer control, right?
What was that?
Yeah. Well, you're working ethically, really, you're working to try and make the situation better. So not being serene probably won't make that situation better. So you look serene. Oh, yeah, you should take that knife out of his throat because getting all hot and bothered about it is not going to help. So
Well,
is that ethics or self-flagellation? I don't know.
Well, sometimes it's a wise choice to be like act serene even in the face of like really weirdness. Like, let's say your kid starts drawing skulls all over the place at the age of 4, and like it's like I'm not gonna be like, oh here, let me draw a knife and dagger with you, honey. I'm gonna just let me draw. It's like you
Yeah.
have to take in what you're doing and then like have a kind of serene countenance to kind of not recreate the point like a poisonous attribute that's being, happening around you or something like that. But then sometimes as a parent, you have to fight in order to protect your child, right? Like, so, I mean, I think the thing about ethics is it's all dependent on everything, all things considered and, case by case and all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So, but I do think in a spiritual path, we look at life on a kind of case by case, moment by moment basis and say, what's the best right choice here? Not like how can I acquire more money? It's like what's the best right choice for all concerned right now?
And maybe that's the ethical question You have ethics if you do that. And if you don't take time to do that, you're not practicing.
I do think looking at quality of life versus money is a really cool point because it's like some people say money can't buy you happiness. Well, it can if you're poor. Like, you know what I'm saying? But there's a number for
Yeah.
it. Once you get past $74,000 a year, like money can't buy you any more happiness than it bought you already. Like there's actually a number for it. So it's like that's the thing is I think equity bigger concepts like equity and things like that come in when we're looking at quality of life for all concerned, not just can I have more money, but can we all have what we need? And it's like, so I do think the spiritual person considers such things.
Yes. Because we're spiritual, right? Say we're spiritual. I want everyone to have $74,000.
Totally. Okay, the next one is meditation. Like the spiritual person meditates and the non-spiritual person does not.
Ooh, that's a tough one because I think different people meditate in different ways, right? So some people, like you might think like, yeah, again, a monk, like meditating or, somebody who you think is like a spiritual person because they, fit a certain profile, meditates. But when you think of someone who's like a hunter in a tree stand and is standing there not making any sound or movement and patiently watching and waiting, that I think is a form of meditation.
Yeah, I suppose. I knew a guy. I used to work with a guy who did that. We called him Fudd, and he would get up at some ungodly hour of the morning before it was light, and he'd find a tree and sit in it just for hours. So maybe that is a kind of meditation. I
What's a
never could
walking
understand it.
meditation? Sorry.
A what?
What's a walking meditation?
Yeah, that's another one too. Like someone who on their lunch hour every day goes for a walk around the park, or like you, Andy, swimming, like that's a meditation,
Hmm.
So
Baudelaire used to walk cities. He called it flaneur, and he wrote a book about it. But his that that was meditation for him, and I could see where that is. I have walked from the Battery all the way up to Harlem, just thinking,
mhm.
and it's very meditative. So I could see that. That might be a really good practice.
One of the steps of AA, I think it's step 10, is where you meditate. Like that's part of because you're supposed to with AA, you're supposed to like improve your conscious contact with God as you understand God or whatever. But the point of the meditation, from what I've learned, is to like basically get images from your higher self down to your earthly self. And it's like, what is meditation for? Some people you're supposed to clear your mind, you're supposed to find your breath and whatever. Some people say you're supposed to hearken the images from your oversoul down to your regular soul. And I think whatever it is, if you're trying to be a spiritual being, you have to take time to go inward and quiet your mind from this and just see what happens. I mean,
Yeah, I don't. I mean, I would say in this group and the group that we're in on Sunday, Jay Z is the meditation captain. I won't say guru, but you meditate probably more than any of us,
Well,
and I don't actively do that.
mm, yeah, I mean, I guess it's because maybe you're saying that because I report that I actually spend hours practicing meditation every day or,
Yeah,
like,
yeah,
but that's all it is just like practicing meditating,
so
which
when
is
you
practice meditation. Isn't
So
that
when you
weird?
meditate, do you clear your mind or do you see pictures?
I usually use a mantra and I try to just keep bringing my mind back to if I ever find myself thinking about something else, which happens all the time, bring it back to the mantra or to sometimes I do try to picture like when I close my eyes, I see these kind of like red and green lights. So I'll, with my eyes closed, see the lights that exist there and just like really focus it on that. And I think it's when when I, at least in my experience, try to do that, then is when like epiphanies happen about, say, another subject that of something that I would have been sitting there thinking about, but like instead of sitting there thinking about it and all the options and how it's going to play out, when I try to think of nothing, then sometimes the solution for that thing will come. Does that sound familiar to you guys? Does that happen?
Well, yeah, I can see that. I can't think of an example where it's happened to me, but yes, I can see that working. I mean, freeing your mind is really, I'm always trying to figure out a way I can get rid of the logistics. I don't want to be sitting trying to get at peace with the world and think, hey, Thursday, I have to be there at 9. That kind of stuff makes me crazy. So my version of meditation is when I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I
And
never.
for me, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
The, uh, the one thing that helps me do that is music, listening to music with headphones on in the dark. Takes me out of everything. And because it's so means so much to me, it makes me think and it helps me focus. And all that other crap slowly disappears. Not fast, but slowly disappears.
Yeah, I never try to quiet my mind. Like intentionally. I do a lot of sand castling, which we learned in the Enlightenment for lazy people is when you build sand castles to quiet the mind, basically, where so like I bead and things like that's actually my meditation is like beading and knitting and like where I put all of that mental energy into this beautiful object that's emerging, and then I kind of focus on the object and not what my mind is doing. So that's like the closest thing. But when I do go walking, like this morning, I walked for an hour and I asked God, what is your will for my life and situation? So I basically asked for God's guidance, not my guidance, to come into my mind. And so like that's my meditation, closest thing I do to meditate. But yeah, I don't try to quiet the mind, so I don't really I do with beating and stuff like that. I actually have to do that stuff to quiet my mind, but I could take up more meditation, I suppose.
I went to the protest march on Saturday and I parked. It was down by the waterfront in Portland, and I parked at 10th and Playson because I thought, well, you need to walk. So at the end of this, wherever it ends up, you should park someplace where it's going to cost you a lot of walking. So I did, and it took me about 20 minutes to walk back from where the thing ended, or it didn't end, but where I bailed. And uh, it was great because I could take in everything around me and be aware and watch my back, all that stuff. But there's no such thing to intrude on your walking. You just one foot in front of the other. And so it was really somewhat meditative. Also, my knees were in pain. So that took me out of it a little bit, but not much. And that walk was just like cleansing in some way.
Yeah. I actually write it in my schedule. Like I walk on Mondays every day for an hour before my shift. Like I have actually written like cleansing, mental cleansing hours into the schedule. So it's similar to meditation, but this actually
Yeah.
brings us to the next one, which is intuition is God talking. Never take inner sight lightly. It's basically a dialogue with God. So he's saying the spiritual person takes that dialogue with God seriously or intuition seriously, as opposed to just like, oh, so what do you guys think of that? Like it does sound like Jay-Z, like you are getting a dialogue with God when you're the answer comes to you. That is kind of like intuition speaking to you.
Yeah, I
I
believe that is the time when I'm in touch with my intuition, and that is like I need to value that. And I have at points in my life not valued that. And I'm definitely like I think things work out way better for me when I pay attention to those like kind of flashes.
I yeah, I see that. I'm for me it's a kind of practice. Get to my intuition and trust it. I often second guess myself, but try to trust your intuition and then be tuned to it because it's, you know, the other stuff is noisier. Intuition is kind of quiet.
Interesting.
I'm not trying to get to God. I'm just trying to get to a place where I trust myself. I called God once, but I was on hold for so long that I just,
Yeah, it's interesting being a psychic and an astrologer for so long. I'm in the business of listening to your intuition first. You know what I'm saying? Where it's like,
yeah.
that's my job. And I had a business advisor who was a Capricorn, and I asked him like, should I live to my transits first or do what the schedule says? He's like, live to your transits first. Absolutely, that's your business that you're in. And I was like, all right. And like, my intuition's actually always been correct, whereas the people around me were not correct. Like, so like, you know, um, so I kind of learned this muscle a long time ago. Like I listen to my inner self constantly. Like, and the whole Moira Press has been built on intuition. Well, it's not even intuition. I wouldn't say it's like this like subtle knowing or whatever. I'm literally being like, God, what is your will for the Moira Press today? And then I'm like writing in my journal. And that is like actively engaging your intuition to a level, but it's like I always go God first. Like never is this business been run by me ever. It's, but that's the industry I'm in. Like literally, like if I didn't listen to that, like I'd be a fake. So
Does what gets in your way? If something gets in your way, what is it? Is it?
and nothing gets in my way.
Hmm.
I mean, if you go with God's way, nothing gets in. It's like it's God's way. Like numbers, maybe numbers do. Like for example, like you and I, the three of us get like 14 views on our video, right? And that might get in my way of thinking, well, if this is God's will to make these videos, why isn't anyone watching? Well, then I have to go back to God's will. Like God's in charge of the numbers. I don't know. You know what I'm saying? Like I just posted a video with Julie Verdini the other day, 121 views. I don't know why that one got 121 and we get 14, but I know that this show, this hour of conversation is absolutely meant to happen. Like, you know what I mean? Like in my heart, like I feel whole and like God, like I feel God calm when we talk. Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, and I agree.
What
It's
gets in your way?
important stuff, logistics, problems to be solved, money, where I have to be on Thursday, all that stuff. I can't seem to just roll that stuff up in foil and throw it out the window.
How
I
come you
can
don't put
get there.
God in charge of your logistics?
Well, the cost is too high. He wants it to be per item instead of a whole package.
Well, JC,
But
what gets in your way?
Other people, generally, like I can't explain why I think strongly about something, or I don't want to explain, or they have the opposite thought about something, or maybe at times in my life I haven't surrounded myself by the most trustworthy of advisors. So, like, and I could be swayed by someone else who might have had their own agenda of like why they thought they should try to make me do something different. So, yeah, for me, it's always not trusting in my intuition over that of other people.
Oh, I know logic. Remember how he was saying like you got to go beyond logic? Like here's an example. For 10 years I would ask myself, what am I supposed to be for a job? You know, and I would just see an astrologer and like then people would be like, "Well, you're a false prophet and like that's not a good job. You'll never make any money being an astrologer." Like everyone would tell me like all these things like against being an astrologer and I'd be like, "All right, let me ask again." And I'd be like, "All right, God, what am I supposed to be?" Like it's just like and like 10 years later it's like now nothing gets in my way because for 10 years I let people get in my way and I just got tired. I was like, I don't know, I'm not going to ask the same question. I don't know. So I don't know, like I feel like I have let things get in my way, you know.
Well, I'd love to find a path to complete meditation without anything in my way. No sawhorses that I have to move out of the way.
Scheduling it would be the the first like you just schedule
Maybe.
it. Yeah. All right. So he says the next one is that spiritual people don't fight. They are for peace.
Really?
Well, okay, so the word shalom came up, which is apparently shalom is the peace we get when everyone is thriving. I thought that was fascinating
Oh, that's cool. Yeah, nice. I like that a lot.
because I feel like
I like
that's
that
why I
too.
fight is to make sure everyone's thriving. Like I fight till we're all thriving.
Mhm.
I
But
mean,
see, I
that's really
so
what we
disagree
all
with
should
this
be doing.
one. Okay, sorry, go ahead.
No, you go ahead. You were going to disagree with what?
Okay, this is where I'm not like these like woo-woo spiritualist people. I'm an astrologer first. Like I'm like, okay, astrologers see fighting in the transits. We deal with warriorism, conflict. Why are people always like world peace, world peace? It's been going on for like thousands of years and they can't stop having conflict. And the astrologers know this. Like we'll watch protests, like the clock hands will get into a fighting configuration, and there goes the protest, like right outside the house, and you're just like, oh my God, right on time. The fight's right on time this time, you know? So it's like I guess I don't agree with these. I feel like these woo-woo spiritualists who want everything to be love and light and that it's like live, laugh, and love or whatever it is. I'm like, you're actually under the astrologers. Like, not that I'm not trying for power over, but conceptually and theoretically, you have not figured out that some charts are here to fight. And that's part of the life like we some chart like Wayne Dyer's chart might not ever get in a fight like it's like all right bro you go like you don't have a strong Mars like okay you just go be peaceful be zen but like this Sun Mars person can also be evolved and spiritual and be a Sun Mars warrior they can be a Shaolin fighting monk like Jay-Z was saying you know
Yeah.
so,
Yeah.
well, what do you guys think?
Yeah,
Well,
I think that there needs to be accountability. So if peacefulness precludes accountability, then I do not agree. So it can't be like a kind of like placating, brush everything under the carpet kind of peace.
right.
Everything's okay kind of peace. But it has to be kind of like a righteous peace. A righteous peace, and it has to be a peaceful environment because, you know, because everybody is thriving and people are not like are active and energetic, but they're not using that action and energy against other people's ability to be peaceful and thrive.
Yeah. And I agree with that. And I think that you can have a warrior spirit, but there are levels. And the warrior spirit could, it doesn't mean they have to come in the room with an axe, but they could have the warrior spirit to make sure that everybody has $74,000. And that fighting could be for something instead of against something. I don't, I have a very cynical view of our beautiful race. And so Hallmark peace doesn't seem possible. We've been around for so long and evolution hasn't really worked that well. Our phones are better than our souls. So, um, I think we have to just manage what we've got. And so, yes, take a warrior spirit, but put it to good use.
What'd you think of the Magic the Gathering battle talk we had?
I'm not, I'm keeping an open mind till we start magic. But there is a lot of battle in it. There's more battle. We use those phrases more in talking about magic than I've used in my whole life.
Oh,
But
we got to do that again.
Oh my
yeah,
God.
We definitely have
yeah.
to do that
Before I
again.
forget what we talked about.
Yeah, oh yeah, we got to set that up. Well, okay, what if we battle with ethics? Are we still spiritual?
Well, it depends on our ethics, doesn't it? The Crusaders thought they were ethical. You either believe in God or I'm going to kill you. It's my ethic. They thought they were ethical, if they thought about it at all. They probably just became Crusaders because they got paid. But the people who sent them thought they were ethical. Also, they wanted the territory.
I like your point of fighting for something good. Sorry, Jay-Z.
Well, how about there's a part where he talks about Mother Teresa and about like the quote that she gave, he gave from her saying, "The fruit of love is service, which is compassion in action." And I like that turn of phrase, service is compassion in action. So
Yes.
what if you were battling with with compassion and that was how the battle was your action, but your intent and the whole ethos behind it was compassion.
Yeah, it's like fighting for the greatest good of all concerned is compassionate.
Yeah.
You know,
I,
okay, oh sorry.
I believe it. Go ahead.
Well, okay, so I rarely bring up my own chart in conversations at all, but like I have a Pisces moon square Neptune, which is an extremely compassionate moon. Like I am like my heart chakra is like so big. Like that's probably sounds narcissistic to say, but like just like if you stand next to me, you can like feel my heart is so big, right? That's my Pisces moon. But then I have a Sun square Mars, so I'm actually a brute also. Like so I actually have one of these charts that is compassionate but like is so compassionate that it fights for things ethically, not like I'm not nice to people all the time. I'm not that kind of compassionate, but I'm like, for example, when I wrote the book Astrological Remediation, it pissed off a lot of people because I was fighting and I was just like, oh, you guys are gonna make some mean predictions, and now you're gonna say this mean thing about this chart and not give it like this was like my compassionate way of slicing the astrologers and being like remediation. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, but it's like a slice, but it fixes the whole field. You know what I'm saying? And like
Yeah.
that's what I'm talking about, where you compassionately kill something. You know what I mean?
Yeah. In the interest of making things better.
Exactly. So I feel like there are compassionate killers, right? But it's like I didn't kill somebody, but like I hurt a few feelings on the way of like, you know, getting as AR like out there. You know, it's like so I had to act like a narcissist in certain cases and like be like larger than life and be like this book's amazing. Like I had to do all kinds of things to get the astrologers to get this book. You know what I mean? But it was all done in the heart of like, can we fix this field, please? Because this is scaring people like really bad, you know, or whatever. I don't know. That sounded
Mhm.
narcissistic, but
No, no, and because what you're saying is like people would look at someone's chart and be like, "Oh, wow, you got this tough thing," and well, you're just we're born with it and you're stuck with it, and you're like, "F that, man." How
Yeah.
about
did a
telling
lot of
them,
like, you're no, you're wrong. Like which people I'm not supposed to fight, right? I'm supposed to be like, oh, good chart reading. That was a really good chart reading. I'm not supposed to fight, and I'm just like, no, that was what you just did there was like, we need a tattoo cover up on that chart reading. Like what? No, like,
yeah, 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 no, that makes sense, Andy.
Yeah, it does make sense.
okay. Well, and I think though there's something to be said that if a solution to a problem could be solved with a fight or a peaceful maneuver, a spiritual person would choose the peaceful maneuver.
Yeah. I would I would say that's true because a fight antagonizes the other people, and a spiritual maneuver can make a group and bring people together.
Totally. Okay, so this brings us to our next one, which is a reverence for life. People who are spiritual have a reverence for life. What I mean, what's the alternative to that? You have a reverence for death? No, I don't know.
Well, remember,
Well,
Andy, when we've been talking about things for a while and saying like if you have to judge it as like was that going towards life or going towards not life, and the one towards life is good and the one towards not life is bad. Like, if you have to be pejorative about anything, it's you use that lens and you kind of can't go wrong. And that is, I guess, how we often define good things is towards life.
yeah, and we could bring in Sunday's session and say toward light too,
Hmm.
toward light.
Yeah, Jesse, speaking of like the idea, we always talk about how live is opposite of evil, spelled backwards. And we're like, are
Yeah,
you going towards live or are you going towards evil? Which is
evil.
like things like smoking and drinking, right? They're actually poisonous, right? So they're kind of antibiotic, they're anti-life. Like, and a spiritual person would revere their life and be like, I need to not kill myself. You know what I mean? Like, so a lot of most gurus or monks or whatever don't smoke and drink, for example. Bottoms up, Lumiere.
I
Um,
suppose. I mean, there are degrees too.
maybe that drink is life-bringing for you.
It is because it nurtures my head and soul. But I'm also not. I don't overindulge. I practice some part of moderation, which sounds boring, but um, so I think that degrees are important too. It's not necessarily black and white,
Well, they say the dose is the poison.
unless you're a zebra.
Oh
Then
my
it's
God,
black and white.
the zebra!
That thing is so cute.
What did
Andy,
I
I can't
say?
believe you made that. That is amazing.
What did I say in the note? I said I gave you that because you're the exact balance between dark and light.
Ooh,
Yes, yes.
And
nice.
you
You think
drinking
that's?
your drink is like a good version. You're kind of our like darkness guy.
I'm your darkness guy. Darkness guy. I'm gonna change my tag on the Zoom that says so it says the darkness guy.
Well, you're
Um,
kind of a heel.
I'm a heel.
Well, in professional wrestling, heels are the villains and then the baby faces are the good guys. And you're kind of a heel. Like you drink and you're always a little cynical and like you're kind of a heel.
I'm a lot cynical. I'm a heel. I've been called that before, but not with that meaning attached.
All right,
In
we
the
have
50s.
two. Oh, go ahead.
In the 1950s, he was called a
Yeah,
heel.
that's right. Oh, he's such a heel.
Well, no, I do think you're like you're a heel baby face. Like you're a good guy who's a little bad or a bad. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah,
like you're like coming to the Course in Miracles. You're like, all right, I'm gonna learn miracles, and then you're always like, but what about this? Like you're like you're
well, I'm
perfect.
a skeptic.
Yeah,
So
but we
you're saying
talked
I'm
about
like
how if you're too love
all
and
of
light, it's boring. No one should be all love and light.
like you're saying I'm like all of Jason Statham's characters who mutilate a lot of people because one of his friends has been wronged.
I guess, but it's funny because Jay-Z's working on outfits that are all white.
Or are you?
Oh yeah.
I see that there. Is that a sweatshirt? Yeah,
Oh, thanks. Yeah, yeah. It's my sweatshirt. My gong band played a show the other night, and we all wear light colored clothing and everything. Yeah, yeah. We're gonna do a band photo soon. That it's gonna be amazing.
would be great.
We were talking about that the other day.
This
Nice.
looks black, but it's actually blue. It would be funny for Jay Z and I to walk down the street, be
Oh yeah.
black and
Yeah,
white.
yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. Okay, we have two more. The second to last one is the spiritual person releases grudges. They let go of hostility, revenge, and resentments.
Oh yeah, because we know forgiveness is where it's at.
That's right. We've been lectured by 4 weeks of 5 weeks of that. Yeah, but I think that that is true because the spiritual person sees a bigger picture than just, you left your coffee cup on the table, and they're looking at the whole thing, and so the incidentals don't matter as much.
Well, I think a lot of spiritual people look at the state of the heart. Like when we look at the Holy Spirit, like that idea, it's in Greek, it's the Greek words agios pneuma, which is clean breath. And I always think of it as like when your heart chakra is spinning cleanly, you can feel it. Like it's like you, and if you breathe in both nostrils, it opens up your heart chakra. Like that's like a nadi exercise. Like you breathe in both nostrils and your heart opens. But like this, if you get to this open-hearted place of like clean spirit, like holy breath, clean breath, like your heart, you can feel it in your heart. And it's like, so there's this book, Drop the Rock in AA, where it talks about how if you build up resentments and like grudges, it's like a rock around your heart and you can like feel it in there. And like you don't have Holy Spirit, you don't have clean breath. And so I always think of it as like, I really judge the state of my life on how much my heart chakra is spinning open. And it's not how much money do I have, but is like my heart open or not? You know what I mean? Like that's
Yeah. Can you feel it when your heart isn't open?
oh, 100%. One of the reasons I don't work, like if someone's late, like if they're a late person, I can't work with them, is my heart chakra starts to shut down like about 3 minutes after. Like I just like I'm just because like then I got to figure out like someone else could have been in that spot. And like I just like it just I don't know, something shut my heart down, and like and then I have to work in with it trying to open up my heart to be nice, and like my heart's like an anus, and like it's just sorry, that was gross. Like
So in order to make it work again, you need some kind of lube.
well, okay, Lumiere, can you feel it when your heart's open or closed?
I don't know. I've been trying to think about that for the last couple of minutes. I don't know. I mean, I think I can feel it closed when there's some kind of resentment. Like, why did you cut me off at 80 miles an hour? That kind of thing. And then you have to let that go. And then I feel like my heart's open again. I guess I can feel, I don't know. I have to think about it. I have to think about it. Jay-Z, can you?
Yeah, I feel my heart is closed. Like to me, I think that's true when I feel that I need to protect myself because I think someone's gonna take advantage of me, or someone is like, I don't understand some things, so I shut down to kind of lock down the gates in the panic room.
Right.
Usually I feel like those are the circumstances under which I lock down my heart chakra. Yeah.
I could lock down Jay-Z's heart chakra if I wanted. I know how I could close
Oh,
it.
she did. It's
Well,
like you don't know how to push my buttons. You know how to shut down my heart chakra.
Are
yeah,
Yeah.
like
those two things?
Start doing something else while I'm telling her like something that's really important to
yeah,
me.
or like for example, if I start showing up 7 minutes late to our Sunday talks repeatedly, or like 7 minutes and then 5 minutes and then 3 minutes and then 7 minutes.
That will do you in, JT?
Yeah, I need predictability and I need commitment.
Yeah.
Wow.
I just know that would shut your heart chakra. I don't do that.
No.
I'm not trying to be power over. I'm like a power with person. Like I'm always trying for two heart chakras open. Like I don't do anything that breaks someone's heart. Like I really don't, unless someone's brutal. If I'm dealing with a brutal chart, I'll be brutal right back because then my heart doesn't get broken because we don't want my heart to get broken either. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so it's like I definitely that's where I'm a little bit weird about ethics because like I could feel auras for 20 years before I went on meds, and it's like I know what breaks the heart. Like it's just it's kind of weird. Like I can feel people's heart. I used to be able to feel hearts shutting down and stuff like that. Like so I don't know. I yeah, but like for example, if I let my someone, I won't say who, if I let the main abusive person in my life abuse me, it breaks the hearts of people around me. So then I can't let that happen. You know what I mean? So I have to be like abusing him back so that they no one gets their heart broken.
The
It's weird.
ripple effect, you're saying.
It's the what?
It's a ripple effect.
Yeah.
Yeah. I remember when you felt Horace. Remember that you felt mine.
Oh yeah.
We never talked. Yeah, we never talked about whether you could feel my chakra shutting down or not.
Yeah.
I
I'm so
might not
glad
have
I
known
can't
what you
feel
were
auras
talking about.
anymore. I'm like
Huh?
so glad I can't feel auras anymore. It's like and no one has food on their face anymore. It's like feeling it's like you're trying to hang out with somebody and they have like food all over their body. It's like weird. Anyway. Okay, the last one is believes in miracles. You guys, the spiritual person believes in miracles. And the non-spiritual person does not, apparently.
Yeah, I've been
Well,
thinking about this a lot in terms of because we've also in another thread slash episodes been talking about determinism and free will. And the determinists really are hardcore of like this whole cause and effect thing that like everything has been predetermined and therefore there is no free will or like that things lead to other things and they can't be other than the way that they're gonna be and then are and then were. But that we're questioning, like, does that or does that not leave room for miracles and manifestation? And I've definitely come up with a lot of like thoughts on this lately, and it has to do with chaos theory and cause and effect, and how, like he in Wayne Dyer definitely says like, well, it's obviously that things don't aren't cause and effect like in Newtonian physics, right? And I agree with that, that they're not because they're more like quantum physics, in which there's this thing called quantum indeterminacy, and that is like this the bit that like hasn't been decided yet. And I think that when we are manifesting things or creating miracles, we are playing with and controlling quantum indeterminacy.
hmm,
That was epic.
I'd love to know more about that. I'm having a hard time grasping it, but I like that. And I've thought about determinism a lot. And at some point, if you are deterministic, you might as well just stay in bed because you don't have to do anything.
So is quantum indeterminacy the idea that we have free will on a quantum level, but but not necessarily on the just everyday level?
No, quantum indeterminacy, I'm just tying that. That's an actual scientific terminology that has to do with quantum physics. But I personally feel like it's directly tied into manifestation and miracles.
So do you think we have the free will to have to make miracles after studying the Enlightenment book?
I do. I think that because of quantum indeterminacy, that we and I think also because you know how you always say like we're like plants but we can move ourselves around, right? I think that we're
Hmm.
auto what's the word? Autonomatoms
Autonomous? Automatons?
or yeah, that. And because we can move ourselves around, well, I think we're like the analogy would be like self-programming computers in which we do have the ability to self-program ourselves by like you can't do anything other than what you were gonna do because of your genetics, but also because of your experiences and environments. And with intentional manifestation, we are changing the environment in which we are living. And by doing that, we are reprogramming ourselves and how we come out. Nothing is like 100% known in advance because of this like indeterminacy at a quantum level.
Wow.
So that I think is how we create miracles.
Well, we're gonna have to
Wow,
stop on
that's
that
great.
thought. We're gonna have to stop on that thought. That was a
That's a good
good
thought.
one, man.
Yeah.
Like I love that Jay-Z's a genius. I love he's like a humble genius. Like you don't really notice he's a genius because he's all humble, and then all of a sudden he says something, and you're like,
Yeah. I'd love to talk about that for an hour.
yeah, hackers,
All right.
hackers. Okay, all right, you
What?
hacker. Next week we're gonna hack the question of suggestions for becoming spiritual. We learned the differences the last 2 weeks, but next week we're gonna figure out how to become spiritual.
What page are we on?
I'm not sure the page, but you'll see a big list. He's really into lists.
He likes lists.
There's
How to become spiritual.
18 ways to become spiritual. I got them all.
Okay.
Nice.
You
I
you read
guys,
ahead. You get a good grade.
What, Jay-Z?
I can't make it next week. I'll be in Aruba visiting Claudia.
Okay.
Oh,
Lumiere, do you want to meet or should we take a week off?
uh, it's up to you. I can meet. I'm
Do you mind if we
better.
meet without you?
No, not at
You
all. I'll catch
care?
up.
You can watch it when you get back from Aruba
Yeah,
if you're
totally.
not too busy trying to take care of your 10.
All right, let's do it. Lumiere, we'll have a special secret meeting.
Okay.
Ooh.
All right.
I'll have
See
to
you
read.
guys
Tell me
soon.
again. You don't know the page. Give me the. Oh, um, I want to know what you said to me the other day that I couldn't hear.
Oh, okay. Hold on, I'm gonna stop the recording.